Kalira sat on the edge of the chair, her silver-blue fingers touching the chess pieces carefully. Each one was shaped differently, some tall, some small, some curved. She studied them like ancient artifacts. "This game, it's like a battle," she asked. Leon nodded. "Yeah, two sides, one goal checkmate. But it's not just fighting, it's thinking ahead, knowing what the other person might do." Kalira looked impressed. "Your species has strange ways of learning strategy." Leon smiled as he moved a piece across the board. "It's not just about war. Chess teaches patience, control, and sometimes humility." She raised an eyebrow. "Humility?" He chuckled. "Especially when you lose." Kalira laughed, softly, a sound like wind through glass. Leon looked at her. She had changed in just a few minutes. When she first walked in, she seemed distant, proud, like the Avari were known to be. Now, she looked curious, open, human almost. They played for a while. Leon explained the rules slowly, watching her pick up the game faster than most humans. He'd taught. She was smart, but every so often she looked at him, not the board. Her glowing eyes studied his face, his hands, his expressions. She seemed to be observing more than just the game. Leon noticed too. There was something about her. The way she tilted her head when she thought. The calmness in her voice. The quiet sadness behind her smile. "Can I ask you something?" said suddenly. Kalira looked up. "Yes. Why did you really come to the human zones? Not just tonight, I mean, to this station." She paused for a long time. Then she answered slowly. "Right. Because I wanted to feel something different. Avari, don't allow emotions to guide us. We live by reason, by logic. But it gets empty, even cold." Leon nodded. He understood that feeling more than she knew. "Your room," she said softly. "It feels alive. Like someone who remembers what it means to feel, to care." Her words hit something inside him. He didn't expect it, but he felt it. Then the room shook slightly. A soft alert beeped from the panel. Leon got up and tapped the screen. "System still jammed," he said. "Door controls offline. Station crew must be resetting the grid." "How long until it opens?" she asked. "Could be 5 minutes. Could be an hour," he replied. Kalira tilted her head. Then, "Perhaps we should talk more." They sat back down, this time without the chessboard. The game no longer mattered. Leon spoke first. "You know, most humans are scared of Avari. They think you're watching us. Judging us?" Kalira nodded. "And most Avari think humans are wild, loud, uncontrolled." They both laughed. "But you're not what I expected," Leon said quietly. Kalira looked at him gently. "Neither are you." The soft hum of the room surrounded them. It wasn't silence. It was peaceful. Kalira looked at the photo of Earth again. "Do you miss it?" "Every day," Leon whispered. "But I don't think I'll ever go back. My life is here now." She reached out, just for a second, and touched his hand. "Then maybe. You just need someone to remind you what it felt like." Leon looked at her, surprised. Her touch was warm, not cold like he imagined. Real. Just then the door beeped and hissed open. The lock was fixed. Kalira stood slowly. She looked at the hallway, then back at the room. Back at Leon. "I should go now," she said softly. He nodded, not saying anything. But before stepping out, Kalira paused. "I think I'll visit again if you don't mind." Leon's voice was quiet but certain. "I wouldn't mind. At all." She gave him a small smile, then disappeared into the hallway. And for the first time in a long time, Leon felt like something good had just started. The space station floated silently above the dead star, its metal skin glowing faintly in the endless dark. Sighed. Long hallways hummed with soft lights and the distant sound of machinery. Private Leon Maddox, a young human soldier, walked through one of these quiet corridors. His boots echoed with each step. It was just another patrol shift. Quiet, lonely. Lonely was used to being alone. After all, most soldiers avoided him. They thought he was too serious. Maybe he was, He followed rules, stayed in his quarters, kept his feelings locked inside. The only thing that gave him comfort was his small room. He had decorated it with soft lights, an old photo of Earth, and a few books. It reminded him of home. Tonight felt like every other night till the door to his room slid open and someone walked in. It wasn't a human. Leon stood still, confused. A tall woman with smooth silver-blue skin and glowing white eyes stepped into his room. She had long braided hair that shimmered like glass. Her clothes looked soft and flowing, marked with strange glowing symbols. She was a very one of the most advanced and mysterious alien races in the galaxy. She froze when she saw Leon, just as shocked as he was. I thought this was the diplomatic lounge," she said, her voice soft, almost musical. Her translator device worked perfectly, but her face showed embarrassment. Leon blinked. "You're in my room." Kalira looked around. It was clearly not a lounge, no official furniture, no command terminals, just warm lights, a soft blanket on the bed, a chessboard on the table, personal things, human things. Her pale cheeks darkened with color. "Oh, I apologize. The signs must have been mistranslated." Leon didn't move. He should report this, should tell her to leave, but instead he surprised himself. "It's okay," he said, lowering his voice. "You can sit if you want." She looked at him confused. "You're not angry?" "No," he said simply, then added with a small smile, "Happens all the time." That was a lie, but somehow it made her smile. Kalira stepped in slowly, her eyes scanning the room. She pointed at the photo of Earth. "Is that your home?" Leon nodded. "Yeah, haven't been back in a long time." She walked closer, her fingers almost touching the picture. "It looks warm." He looked at her for a moment. She seemed curious, gentle, nothing like what the humans said about the Avari being emotionless and cold. He offered her a cup of tea. She hesitated, but took it, sitting down on the small chair across from him. They sat in silence for a moment. "I've never seen a human room before," she said, sipping carefully. "And I've never had an Avari guest." He replied. She looked around again. "Your space is ... alive. It has feeling. Our rooms are clean. Perfect. But empty." Leon watched her. Maybe perfect isn't always better. Kalira met his eyes. For a moment, something passed between them, quiet understanding. The walls of fear and silence that separated their species started to crack. Just a little. She stood up, placing the empty cup on the table. "I should go. I've already disturbed your rest." He walked to the door, but when he pressed the panel, the door didn't open. "Huh," he said. "Must be a system glitch. It happens sometimes." Kalira looked at him with surprise. "So, we are trapped?" Leon nodded slowly. "Looks like it." She didn't panic. Instead, she sat back down, this time more relaxed. "Then, perhaps you can tell me more about this chessboard. I've seen it in human records, but I don't understand it." Leon smiled slightly. "Sure, I'll teach you." As the station spun silently outside, two beings once strangers sat in a small room, sharing stories over a broken door. And in that simple moment, something began, something neither of them expected. The next night came quickly. Leon sat in his quarters again, cleaning his gear and trying not to think too much. But part of him kept glancing at the door, hoping no. Wishing for a knock. It had only been one night, but Kalira's presence had changed something inside him. Her voice still echoed in his mind, soft and thoughtful. Her touch, though brief, had been real, just when he began to believe she wouldn't come. The door slid open, and there she was. Kalira stood quietly at the entrance, looking unsure. "I hope this is not a mistake," she said. Leon stood quickly. "No, it's not. Come in." She stepped inside, moving slowly, her silver-blue robes shimmering like moonlight. She looked around the room, as if she had missed it. Then her eyes met his. "I told my people I was going to observe human quarters." "Technically it's true," she said with a slight smile. Leon grinned. Then let's make sure you learn something useful. They sat across from each other again, but this time, the silence between them felt comfortable. Kalira looked more relaxed, more curious than before. You're kind. Feel so freely, she said softly. Laughter, sadness, even anger. We were trained to control all emotion, to hide it. But hiding it doesn't make it disappear. Leon listened carefully. He could tell her words didn't come easy. She was opening up, piece by piece. When I was a child, she continued, I once cried during a lesson. My teacher said tears were signs of weakness. I never cried again. Leon leaned forward. That's not weakness, Kalira. Being alive, she looked down at her hands, quiet for a moment. You say that so easily, but for me, feeling anything, it's unfamiliar, even scary. He nodded. I get that. I used to shut things out too, especially after my older brother died in a mission. I stopped talking to people, thought it was easier not to feel anything. Kalira looked at him with soft eyes. And now, Leon said slowly, I think I was just scared. The pain, the loneliness. But when you walked into this room, something shifted. I don't feel so alone anymore. Her expression changed surprise, then something gentler. That is strange, she whispered. Gaz, I feel the same. Suddenly a loud knock came from outside the door. Both of them froze. Leon walked over and opened the panel. A tall officer stood there, human, in full uniform. Private Maddox, the officer said, glancing past him. His eyes narrowed slightly. At the sight of Kalira inside, you've been seen with the Avari woman. Unscheduled interaction violates station diplomacy protocols. Leon kept his voice calm. She entered by mistake yesterday. We talked. That's all. The officer looked unconvinced. Keep your distance. We don't want to give the Avari a reason to distrust us? Understood? Leon nodded stiffly. Understood. After the officer left, Kalira stood up. Her expression was unreadable, but her voice was soft. I didn't mean to cause trouble. You didn't, Leon said quickly. They're just afraid. They don't understand this. U.S. Kalira hesitated. Then she walked closer, standing just a foot away from him. Should I stop coming here? He looked into her glowing eyes. Do you want to stop? Her voice was barely a whisper. No. Then don't. For a moment, neither of them moved. The room felt full not of fear, but of something tender. Quiet, powerful. Kalira looked around again and smiled softly. This place. It feels more like home than anywhere I've ever been. Leon felt his chest tighten at her words. She wasn't just visiting anymore. She belonged. And deep inside, he knew something he would protect that feeling, no matter the cost. Kalira returned the next night, quietly as always. But this time, her steps were slower, and her expression more serious. Something had changed. Leon noticed it the moment she entered. Everything okay? Lest, standing up. Kalira looked around the room, then gave a small nod. Yes, ... and no. She sat down near the chessboard, though they didn't play tonight. Instead, she stared at her hands, her silver blue fingers clasped together tightly. Leon sat across from her, concerned. Talk to me. There were questions. Today, she said, from my commanders. They asked where I've been spending my time. They know I've been with a human. Leon leaned back, a cold feeling growing in his chest. What did you tell them? The truth, she replied simply. That I'm observing human behavior, learning their ways. They didn't like my answer. Leon sighed. I got warned too. They think we're crossing lines. Keela looked up, her glowing white eyes meeting his. Are we? He paused, then shook his head. I don't think so. We're not hurting anyone. We're just talking. She gave a soft smile. Talking is dangerous when it leads to understanding. The room felt heavier tonight. The peaceful silence they once shared now held tension. Like invisible eyes were watching from the corners. Leon stood and paced slowly. You think they'll separate us? Kalira nodded. If they feel threatened, yes. Leon clenched his jaw. He hated how quickly things could fall apart. One honest connection, and the world wanted to shut it down. Keliara noticed his frustration. I didn't mean to cause problems for you. He turned to her. You didn't. You reminded me what it means to feel human again. Stood, walking. To the photo of Earth again, her fingers hovered near it. I've seen hundreds of planets, but this one has stories. Pain, joy, hope. It pulls me in. Leon stepped beside her. It's not the planet. It's the people. Imperfect, emotional, stubborn. But we love deeply. We fight for what matters. Kalira looked at him carefully. Would you fight for this? He didn't hesitate. Yes. She took a breath. And for the first time, she looked unsure. I don't understand why I feel this way. Around you, everything is clearer, lighter. I don't want to leave. Leon reached for her hand, gently taking it in his. Then don't. She didn't pull away. Her skin was cool, but her touch was soft. But outside the room, down a quiet hallway, two figures stood in shadow. One was human, the other Avari. They spoke in hushed voices, watching, recording. Inside, Kalira suddenly shivered. Someone's been watching me. I can feel it. Leon moved toward the door. Stay here. Stepped into the hallway, scanning left and right, but it was empty. Whoever had been there was gone. When he returned, Kalira was still standing. Alert, but calm. They'll try to separate us soon, she whispered. They'll say we're a distraction, a danger. Leon closed the door and locked it. Let them try. I won't let them decide what we are. She turned to him, eyes filled with emotion. Then I'll keep coming back, till they force me to stop. And in that quiet room filled with warm lights and soft shadows, a promise was made without any words. It wasn't just curiosity anymore. It was connection. It was the start of something that neither of them fully understood. But both were willing to protect. In the days that followed, Kalira continued to visit Leon's room, though more carefully now. She came at quiet hours, always looking over her shoulder, always listening for footsteps in the hallway. Yet no matter how risky it became, she still returned, drawn not by duty, but by the warmth inside that small room. Leon had changed too. He smiled more, he spoke more freely. The loneliness he had once carried like armor began to fade, replaced by something softer. He started leaving the door unlocked, not as an invitation, but as a silent message. You are welcome here. Each night they shared little moments that felt bigger than words. Kalira sat curled on the floor beside the bed, reading a human storybook. Her soft voice repeated the sentences slowly, sometimes pausing to ask, what does this word mean? Leon would laugh and explain, his voice patient and warm. It means missing someone, wishing they were close. She looked up at him with curious eyes. Do you ever feel that? For me, he paused, heart skipping a beat. Yeah, I do. She didn't look away. So do I. Though they came from different worlds, their bond grew stronger every day. Leon taught Kalira how to play human music on a small digital keyboard. She played gently, her fingers learning the notes with delicate precision. The sound was soft and calming, like her presence in return. She taught him how to meditate the Avari, waste and still, breathing slowly, feeling the energy around them. Leon found peace in it, something he had forgotten in the chaos of military life. But outside that room, the world wasn't so peaceful. Rumors had begun to spread across the station. Some whispered that an Avari ambassador was emotionally compromised. Others claimed a human soldier had broken code. Kalira's superiors began watching her closely. Her requests to leave her quarters were delayed. One evening, she arrived at Leon's room looking tired. Her shoulders tense, her eyes dull. They questioned me for 3 hours, she said. They say, I'm losing focus. They think you are. I'm interfering with my purpose. Leon clenched his fists. You're not a machine, Kalira. You have the right to feel, to choose. But I don't know how to fight them. In my world, disobedience is punished. Emotions are hidden, not welcomed. I don't belong anywhere, no, not with them. Not fully with you. Leon stepped closer, placing his hand gently on her shoulder. You belong here. With me. In this room. In this moment. That's real. She closed her eyes and leaned into his touch. For a few minutes, neither of them spoke. They just stayed close, listening to the soft hum of the station around them. I don't want to be sent away, she whispered. This place, it makes me feel alive. You make me feel human. He looked at her with quiet strength. Then, we won't let them take that away. Kalira looked up. But what if they force me to leave? What if this ends? Leon didn't answer right away. Instead, he walked to his desk and pulled out a small object, a tiny music chip. He handed it to her. It's a song I wrote for you. If they make you leave, play this. Remember this room. Remember us. Kalira held the chip like it was made of glass. Her hands trembled. You did all this? For me? He nodded. Because you're worth it. She pressed the chip close to her heart and whispered, I'm afraid, but I won't run. In that moment, something unbreakable formed between them. Not just friendship, not even love, but a deep, soul-level connection, no matter what came next, they would face it together. The station's lights felt colder that day. The halls were quiet, but not peaceful. Something was in the air. Tension. Eyes followed Kalira. She walked through the corridors. Some looked with curiosity, others with quiet judgment. The worst were the ones that said nothing and simply turned away. Kalira knew the order was coming. She could feel it. When she entered Leon's room, she didn't speak at first. She just stood by the door, her face unreadable, her hands clenched tight. Leon stood up the moment he saw her. What happened? He asked softly. She took a deep breath, her voice barely holding steady. They've given me a choice. Return to the Avari vessel within 24 hours, or be removed from duty. Leon stared at her, his chest tightening. Removed. For what? For emotional compromise. For failing to report daily observations. For staying here. With you, she whispered. He took a step forward. This is wrong. They can't just control your life like that. Kalira looked away. But they can. My world, there is no room for doubt. No space for love or freedom. I knew this would happen, but I still came back to you, Leon felt. A mix of anger and helplessness rising inside him. So what now? You just leave? Pretend this never happened? She shook her head. I don't want to forget. I want to stay. But disobey. I won't just lose my position. I'll lose everything. My name. It's my honor. My people. Leon walked closer and gently held her hands. Then let them take those things. You're not just an Avari anymore. You're more. You're you. Matter with or without a title. Tears shimmered in her white eyes, threatening to fall. You say that like it's simple. But it's not. He nodded. I know. But this what we have. It's real. It's real things are worth fighting for. Even if the whole galaxy says otherwise. Kalira lowered her head, resting her forehead. Against his chest, I'm scared. I've never made a choice like this before. I don't know how to be brave. Leon wrapped his arms around her, holding her tightly. Let me be brave for both of us. There was silence for a long moment, broken only by the low hum of the room's systems. Then Kalira pulled away slightly and looked into his eyes. I want to speak, not just to you. To everyone. If I go back quietly, nothing changes. But if I speak, maybe others will listen. Leon's eyes widened. You mean go public? She nodded. Yes. If the Avari and humans truly want peace, they must learn what peace looks like. Not just orders and treaties, but understanding. And that starts with us. Leon was unsure. They won't make it easy. You'll face backlash. Maybe worse. Kalira stood taller, something new in her voice strength. Then let them see me. Let them hear the truth. I am not broken. I am not weak. I am choosing this path with my heart. Leon smiled with pride. Then I'll be by your side when you do. She looked at him, her expression softening. You always say the right thing. Only when it matters, he replied gently. As they stood together in the center of that quiet room, two souls from different stars, they made a silent vow. No more hiding, no more fear. Tomorrow Kalira would speak to both councils. Didn't know what would happen. But she knew one thing for sure. She was not alone anymore, and that gave her the courage she never knew she had. The grand hall of the Unity Chamber was quiet. Leaders from both the human and Avari sides sat around the circular room. Lights above shimmered like stars, casting soft reflections on the polished floor. Everyone was waiting. Then the doors opened, and Kalira walked in. She wore her formal robes, glowing softly with the Avari symbols of truth and courage. But this time, there was something different about her. She wasn't just an Avari officer now. She was someone who had felt, someone who had changed. Leon stood at the back, dressed in full uniform, watching with quiet pride. He didn't move, didn't speak. But their eyes met for just a second, and that was all Kalira needed to stay. Strong, she stepped to the center and began to speak. "My name is Kalira of the Avari people," she said clearly. "I stand before you today not as a soldier, not as a diplomat, but as someone who has discovered something rare, something powerful." The room remained silent. What interrupted? I was trained to follow logic, to stay detached, believed. That peace came only through control and structure. But then, I met a human. A soldier who offered me nothing but kindness, truth, and understanding. She paused, her voice trembling slightly. At first, I thought he was different, strange, emotionally. But slowly, I saw what emotion truly is. It's not weakness, it's strength, is what makes life worth living. Some council members looked confused. Others leaned forward, listening more closely now. I have broken the rules of my people. I have shared time, thoughts, and feelings with someone outside my world, and I do not regret it, Kalira said firmly, because it showed me that peace is not just about agreements, it's about connection. She turned toward the Avari side of the chamber. If you silence voices like mine, if you punish those who choose to feel, then you are not protecting peace. You're only hiding from it. Then she looked toward the humans. And if you judge others for reaching out, if you see every difference as a threat, then you close the door to understanding. Silence fell again. No one moved. No one dared speak. Then slowly, one of the Avari elders stood. His eyes were hard to read, his expression. "Still, what is it you ask for?" he said quietly. Kalira took a deep breath. "I ask to remain here, to serve as a bridge between our worlds, to continue learning, sharing, and showing that something better is possible." There was a long pause, and then, to everyone's surprise, the elder nodded once. "The council will consider your request." Kalira bowed her head respectfully, then turned to leave. She walked toward the exit. A soft sound filled the air, gentle, clapping. It started from one of the younger human officers. Soon others joined in. It wasn't loud, it wasn't forced, it was honest. Leon was waiting outside the chamber door. As Kalira stepped out, he smiled. "You were amazing." She let out a breath she had been holding. "I was terrified." "And still, you stood up," he said. "That's what matters." Kalira reached into her pocket and held up the small music chip he had given her days before. "I didn't need to play this," she said, "because I never left." He stepped closer. "And now?" She smiled gently. "Now I stay. Not because I have to, but because I want to." They stood there in the quiet hallway. Two hearts from different worlds united by choice, by courage, and by something unspoken but real. And from that day forward, their room wasn't just a quiet space behind a metal door. It was a symbol. A beginning, a reminder that sometimes peace starts with two people who simply choose to understand each other.